This that you see here is an Aztec or Mayan god that is called Atlantean. And he is the god of the waters, and you see him there carrying the celestial waters. And, well, this made you think, I am sure, of Atlas, the Greek god that supports on his shoulders, on his back, well, the earth. And what about languages now? Also, striking similarities in the most important words of language. So to give you just a few examples, we have the word God in several languages. In Chinese, it is Tao, Deus, Dieu, Theos in Greek, Dios, and Teotl in Aztec. What about now the word for father? Well, once more, striking similarities. Pater, father, fada, fata, and pa or ma in Mayan. And now for mother, the same thing. So, all of this is pointing towards a common origin, towards a common root that we'll find, as you will see, well, in the Atlantic Ocean. Jesus on the cross said some very mysterious words that up to now have remained without correct interpretation. And these words are Eli, 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 lama sabachthani. And the Jews found an interpretation for this. The Christians found another interpretation for this. But when this sentence is presented to Mayans from the southern part of Mexico, then they say this has a very specific meaning in Mayan language. It is part of the ritualistic Mayan language, and it is translated as I submerge myself in the pre-dawn or glory of your presence. So, all of this, then, as we said, points towards a common origin in the Atlantic Ocean, which has been then the evidence of many sunken structures. So here you see a sunken structure found in 2001 off the west coast of Cuba. And this is a picture of among sonar images taken thanks to an underwater video robot. And so what you see here is pyramidal structures, circular structures, and an urban complex 600 meters below the surface of the water. So when this was presented to a geologist, so that he somehow gave an explanation of how this could be created with geology, well, he said, so far it is impossible to explain this geologically. Off the coast of Azores, which are a set of islands in Portugal, was found by accident 40 meters under sea level a pyramid that was later proved with the help of GPS imagery that you see here. And also we have off the coast of Bahamas, well, what is called now the Bimini Roads. So what are these Bimini Roads? Well, they are perfectly paved with limestone blocks, half a mile long, roads underneath the water. Here you see the perfect blocks that have been right angle shaped. And on top of this, well, history has given us many testimonies of the existence of then this Atlantis. Plato, the great philosopher Plato, who was a serious man, who was a man with an awakened consciousness, tells us that 300 years before he wrote this in his dialogues Timaeus and Critias, well, a Greek statesman called Solon, in his travels in Egypt, well, he came across priests in the city of Sais. And these priests, they explained to him that 8,000 years before, there existed a great and powerful island, well beyond the Strait of Gibraltar, which was called in those days the Columns of Hercules. And this that is brought to us by Plato, well, has been confirmed, this time by men and women with an awakened consciousness. So for those of you who are not here on our talk about the awakening of the consciousness, our previous talk, then at that moment we explained that consciousness is a psychological faculty inside the human being that allows us, in particular, to know and understand things about our past. And so, the consciousness is able to capture events that happened in the past. With our awakened consciousness, then men and women are able to visit and study what are called the Akashic records. And so in order to explain what these Akashic records are, let me make a small digression and go back to the 60s, where an Italian priest and scientist, together with a team made up of 12 very famous scientists, well, they decided to create a very special machine that they baptized the chronovisor. What this machine did was to capture electromagnetic radiation that was left behind by previous or past events. And then, with the aid of a cathode ray tube inside a cabinet, they were able to project, after having decoded these electromagnetic waves, they were able to project these scenes from the past. And the picture that went all around the world was, as a matter of fact, the picture of Jesus agonizing on the cross, which, as I said, was captured in the Akashic records and then projected in this chronovisor. And this can also be done with the aid of the awakened consciousness, because the perceptions of the awakened consciousness help us understand and see our past directly. And so, Blavatsky, Rudolf Steiner, Edgar Cayce, to cite some of them, and Dr. Samael Aumur were able then, with their consciousness, to visit our past. And so what do they tell us about this advanced civilization that preceded us in time? Well, they said, and they still say, that the Atlanteans were a civilization of very tall men and women. They were 3 meters tall, and they lived 500 years. And they lived then in a continent that was called Atlantis, and that covered the entire Atlantic Ocean, from south to north. Atlantis at the beginning, they tell us, well, blossomed in a golden age. And so in this golden age, what is mine, what is yours, did not exist. Everything belonged to everyone. And in this golden age, the light of the consciousness shone inside each human being, giving them knowledge and wisdom. And so, these Atlanteans, they created a society in order to study the mysteries of life, the mysteries of nature, and of the cosmos. This society was called Akaldano. And in this society then, they were able to develop all their knowledge and all their technology. This society then had in front of their university a sphinx, which was the symbol of wisdom. And then, as we're able to see in the first part of this talk, well, the Atlanteans enjoyed a very powerful civilization with immensely superior to ours technology. And so the Atlanteans were able to build cars, planes, ships, spaceships that could travel not only to the moon or to Mars, but to all the planets of the solar system. The Atlanteans then knew about atomic energy and about solar energy. Unfortunately, everything that ascends must one day descend. And so, everything that the Atlanteans enjoyed, well, started declining, because the Atlanteans, they started forgetting about themselves. They started forgetting about their ethical and spiritual principles. They started forgetting about the superior intelligences that lie in nature and in the cosmos. And on the contrary, they started worshipping materialism, the world of the senses, and like this, Atlanteans lived a decadence and a degeneration. And in this decadence and degeneration,